Our subconscious blocks are not going to get in the way of us receiving our manifestation because we have the universe. And the universe is always guiding us and letting us know what is in our way and how to reach our manifestation. Hi, my little llamas. It's TheSalmaLlama, your spiritual bestie. And I'm here to share a story with you of how the universe is showing me and guiding me how to find my subconscious blocks and how to remove them so that my manifestations can appear in this 3D world. Because the only thing that's in the way of us and everything we want is our subconscious blocks, because the universe is here to give. We just have to be ready to receive it. The reason why I'm sharing this is because I want to show you how many ways the universe can communicate with you and show you what to do next, what your next breadcrumb is, how you can constantly receive guidance from the universe because it's guiding you to your dream life and everything that you could ever want. But you have to be aware of what it is telling you so you can take the necessary steps. So let's begin. I meditate a lot, and a little bit over a year ago, I was meditating, and this happened a few times, but while I would be meditating, I would hear the words, "You are safe." I just assumed it was telling me that I was safe to sink deeper into my meditations, to go off into the void of nothingness during my meditations. Shortly after that, I went to visit Sedona with a friend. He wanted to go see his friend that had this wellness center. While we were there, she gave us the tour. She told us that she does this biotuning thing where she plays a frequency. She hooks you up to this machine and it finds a frequency that puts your body into homeostasis so that you can relax and your body can restore itself and rejuvenate. And it takes you into slower brainwave states. So while she was giving us the tour, in the room that she does the biotuning, there were all these Egyptian things all over the wall. It was so random because at this wellness spa they also do like Botox and fillers and things like that, but there's this random room with all these Egyptian artifacts almost. I think to myself, maybe this is a sign from the universe because I have a deep connection with Egypt. I've been to Egypt and I've seen some of my lives in Egypt. So I decide to ask the universe for a sign if I should do the biotuning. She tells us that she has an appointment later on in the afternoon. I didn't really want to spend the money on it, to be honest, but I couldn't let go of the signs that I saw, the Egyptian stuff all over her wall. I decided to take the appointment and then I could cancel if the universe said no. So I walk outside and I ask the universe, I just say it out loud, "Universe, if I'm supposed to do this, show me a butterfly. If I'm not supposed to do this, show me a bee." Shortly after, we're on a walk and I see 2 butterflies. So the universe had spoken and now I had a biotuning appointment. I'm now at my appointment. She hooks me up and now we're looking at the results. She tells me that I never went into homeostasis. And she's able to kind of read the chart. And she told me my body doesn't feel safe and it feels stressed out. So this was shocking to me because I've been meditating. I didn't really think that I was stressed out in any ways consciously. During that appointment, she had me kind of close my eyes and tap into my body and just ask. What was revealed to me during that appointment was that I constantly am tapping into everyone else's energy because I don't feel safe in my own body. So I'm scanning and analyzing my environment energetically, and that's why I can be a super empath, because something about me not feeling safe makes me pick up the energy of the room and the people around me, which makes me feel stressed out. And just the fact that I don't feel safe in my body makes me feel stressed out. And I had no idea of this. A few days later, I go home and I'm meditating and I notice suddenly my energy is above my shoulders. Now, I don't really know how to describe it. I was just meditating and I had this idea to ask myself, where are you? And then I felt all of my energy was up here and none of it was actually inside of my body. That was new, and things were kind of unfolding for me to discover what this is and what is going on. So now knowing this, I decided that I would focus on trying to bring my energy from up here back down into my body and to try to be in my body more. I would inhale the energy all the way down into my first energy center or root chakra and try to hold it. I would remind myself throughout the day, and honestly, every single time I would remember, I would realize my energy was back up here because that's where it had a natural habit to be. I had to retrain my energy to be back in my body where it didn't want to be. And then after that, I don't know the exact timeline because everything was so close to each other. It was like getting the message of not feeling safe for a few days. Then a week later, I'm in Sedona for a few days. Then I'm home. Then I'm realizing my energy's up here. So it's just kind of unfolding over the next days and weeks. I guess my intuition is kind of telling me what's going on. I'm receiving downloads of what's going on while I'm meditating, and I'm getting signs in the physical world about what's going on as well. The next thing that popped up was I started getting signs about cancer after that. So that freaked me out. I remember I was laying in bed and I got a text from an insurance company just saying, have you been tested for cervical cancer? And at first I thought nothing of it. I also had my first physical therapy session that week. So I go to the office. The office is connected to a cancer building, and then right next door is an OBGYN. So in that same day, I had 2 signs about cancer. It was brought into my awareness. And then that evening, we are watching a movie. We pick a random movie, and this woman has a tumor growing where her womb space is. So that freaked me out. When the universe is trying to tell you something loud and clear, it will bring it to your awareness 3 times. So I was very confused by this cancer stuff that came into my field all of a sudden. And then I was really freaked out. I decided, let me ask for a sign. I asked the universe to show me a black flower if I had cancer and show me a blue flower if I didn't have cancer. I went on a walk that day, and then somebody had drawn a flower on a rock and it was black. After that, I lost my mind. I was like, oh my God, I have cancer. The universe is telling me that I have cancer. I'm so confused. I'm not feeling safe. My energy's not in my body. Now I have cancer. What the hell is going on? So obviously I was really sad at that moment in time and very confused as to what was going on. I did make an OBGYN appointment at that time and do a pap smear, and then I had to wait, I think it was 3 weeks till I got my results, so I didn't know anything. And then I did an ultrasound too, just in case, but they didn't see any masses in my body, so that was a little bit relieving. But after that, I go on Facebook, and in my notifications it says there's a root chakra meditation in a few hours. And I know I wasn't signed up for those notifications or anything, so I knew that that was a message from the universe that I needed to do this root chakra meditation with these people. So I show up to the root chakra meditation. The woman is kind of letting us know more about the root chakra, and I'm kind of realizing as she's talking about it that, oh my gosh, I must have a block in my root chakra or a root chakra deficiency, because she's talking about stability, feeling safe in the body, all kinds of things that I was experiencing. So as we're doing the meditation, I get this message loud and clear. And when I say messages, it's almost like a telepathic download. I don't know, it's instantaneous, within a second, it's just immediately downloaded into my brain, and then the idea pops up. That's the best way that I can explain it. Telepathy, telepathic. It tells me you need to go to Mount Shasta and do a ceremony with your friend Bianca. I had already known that Mount Shasta was the root chakra of Earth because I've looked up where all the energy centers of Earth are. So I was like, okay, cool, that's fine. I can probably figure that out. Let me call my friend Bianca. So I call my friend Bianca, and she tells me she is going to a ceremony in Mount Shasta, and she had actually already told me about it a few months prior, but I had forgotten because it wasn't something that I was interested in or wanted to do. So I let it go, didn't really think about it. And she tells me this ceremony is all about the womb. And then it hit me. That's the ceremony that I'm supposed to go to. I did not want to go to that ceremony at all because I didn't really feel like that was my world or my people. I just had no desire to do it. It was completely out of my comfort zone. There was camping. I'd never camped before. It's gonna be outside, it's gonna be hot. It was just all of these things that I had a resistance to. So when I realized that was where the universe was sending me, I felt so much resistance. I just started crying and asking the universe, why? Why would you do this to me? This is terrible. I don't wanna go do that. I don't wanna be there. Why would you do this? Why couldn't you send me to something that I want to do or that I feel more comfortable with? But that was the message, and it was clear. So I had to be brave, and I had to step out of my comfort zone, and I had to go to this ceremony. It took me a while to accept it. I had about a month until the ceremony actually started. During that month that I had, I went to Hawaii to see my dad. And on one of the days that I was meditating while I was there, I was just meditating. My eyes were closed. I was kind of just floating out into the void during my meditation. Again, it was like a vibration, but my brain can translate the vibration into words, if that makes sense. This vibration comes and it says, "You belong," but it comes and it goes through my body all the way down into my root chakra. When that happened, I suddenly started having memories of how I felt like I wasn't from this planet and how I would always look up at the stars and say, I want to go home, get me out of here, I don't want to be in this place. How sometimes I just think Earth is so weird and primitive. That went through my body, and when that happened, I felt like I let go more of that feeling of I don't belong here. And that was also interesting because I thought I had let that go years prior and accepted my time here on Earth, but I think that was maybe more consciously than subconsciously, because the subconscious lives in the body. This hit something in the body when that vibration went through me and said, "You belong." And I found just a little bit more comfort here. So while I was in Hawaii, I just want to share the signs that I received while I was there. Because when you're supposed to do something and be somewhere, the universe will continue making signs show up in your life to continue pushing you towards the destination that you're supposed to get to or the action that you're supposed to make. While I was in Hawaii, I got roses twice. This ceremony has to do with like feminine energy and your womb and healing all of that. And for me, like when I got the roses, I found it interesting because the roses reminded me of love and feminine energy. I felt like me receiving roses twice was a way of the ceremony to invite me to it. Every time I would think about the ceremony, I would tear up and cry. And I've had this thing over the years where if something randomly makes me cry and I have no logical explanation, I just cry, or I meet somebody and I just cry. It usually means this thing is going to change my life, and I usually don't know how until it happens, but it's like my soul speaking to me through tears. My soul is guiding me to where my whole body is crying and I have no conscious awareness of why or what's going on. I'm just crying. And the universe guides you through everything. Signs outside of yourself, your intuition, your body, everything. So you have to pay attention to all of these things to get the messages. There was a day where I was supposed to go see my friend, and she was staying very close to where I was staying, but I couldn't find my car keys for some reason. So I just decided, okay, for some reason, the universe wants me to walk, and it's not a far walk. It's like 15 minutes. I can do it. Let me walk. As I'm walking to her house, there was a little dream catcher attached to a bush on the sidewalk. This ceremony that I was going to was kind of like a Native American ceremony, and dream catchers remind me of Native Americans. When I saw that, it was another confirmation of, yes, you're supposed to go to this ceremony, like you can do it. And the universe is my number one hype man or woman, so it keeps showing me the signs saying, yes, this is what you're supposed to do. Do it. And one more thing that kept popping up while I was in Hawaii was I kept seeing fire with a smiley face in it. It'd be like a logo on somebody's car or t-shirt. It'd be like a flame and then it would have a face in it. And I was like, okay, I don't know what that means. Like, are you trying to tell me that fire has consciousness and it's alive? I don't know. So now let's fast forward. It's the first day I'm at the ceremony and I have to set up my tent, and the spot that is left was next to the people that set up the fire for the ceremony. So I had a conversation with one of them, and he literally is talking to me and telling me how the fire is super sacred and how everything is done with intention and prayer and love, and how the fire is alive, and told me to feel free to come and connect with the fire anytime I want. So I realized, okay, yes, the universe is telling me the fire is conscious and that it's alive and that I need to go visit it at some point. And that's why I was seeing the little flame with eyes and a smiley face the whole time. So yes, this being at this ceremony was uncomfortable for me because it was completely in the unknown. I had never done anything like this. There wasn't any plant medicine or anything like that. I didn't know anything about what these people were doing, and I was really new to that world and the ways of these people. So I was just a little nervous and scared, and I felt like an outsider, you know, just showing up to something like, hey guys, I'm here. I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm here. I survived, and I actually ended up having a great experience, which was, let me tell you, the very last day. This was when everything kind of went down for me. So this is like a private ceremony. You have to get the call spiritually to show up at the ceremony. I'm not really allowed to share what it is exactly out of respect for the people that run the ceremony. But if you are ever supposed to go to the ceremony, you will hear about it. The universe will guide you to go, and somebody will invite you to go. If you know, you know. If you don't know, you're not supposed to know at this moment, or it's not something that you need. It's not your path. So on the very last night, I decided I'm gonna stay up all night and, you know, be a part of everything. They play the drums all night, so I let myself just listen to the drums and try to go into like a trance-like meditative state and just listen to my intuition or any guidance that I get. It told me to walk in a circle, and I did, and then it told me to sit down, and I did. And I remember while I was sitting down, the woman who is in spirit form, who is no longer with us, who created the ceremony, I saw her. I had never actually looked her up at the time of me seeing her, but I knew it was her. And I remember she came to me and she put her hand on my womb, and I could tell she was like there helping and healing all of these women and everybody else that was at the ceremony. So I found that fascinating. I was like, oh, okay, she's here. She's really here. This woman is real. She's here. I remember my body started pumping this energy out of me. I didn't know what the energy was. I just allowed it to happen. I just stayed in my meditative state and allowed the energy to move through me, and it came from my lower chakras or energy centers and up and out of my body, and I felt it release. And then after that, I was guided to go to the fire, and I sat by the fire and I was just like staring at it in a very meditative trance-like state. And I remember it talked to me. I just can't remember what it said. I only remember the very last thing, and it told me to remember this. I saw it put a piece of itself in my third energy center, my solar plexus, and it told me, don't forget, I'm always here and I'm always with you, and you can access me whenever you want. I didn't really understand that at the time, but I felt this confidence within myself and in my body when it went into my body, if that makes sense. And then about an hour and a half later, the ceremony is ending. I'm walking back to my tent. And as I'm walking back to my tent, I suddenly feel this energy from my sacral chakra, so my second energy center. Something opens and I feel it push down. And I feel like my root, my first center, open and energy go down into the earth. And I literally felt my legs get heavier. I could feel the gravity on earth suddenly. My legs felt like I had attached 2-pound weights to both of them, and I literally felt myself being pulled down. And as my energy is going down into the earth, it just happens instantaneously, and then the information is just like downloaded into me telepathically very quickly. So even though my eyes are open and I'm walking, well, I stopped as this happened. Once my legs got heavier, I like literally stopped. But it also felt like I was somewhere else, like I was talking to Gaia, the divine mother, Mother Earth herself. She told me I was unable to connect with her and ground myself before because I had an energetic block against women, which I didn't even know what block I had, but it was released in that moment. I think some of it got released during the ceremony, during the meditation, and then the rest of it in that moment. And the channel was finally open for me to be able to ground myself and connect to Mother Nature, Gaia, the divine mother, the divine feminine, all of that. And I was like literally brought to instantaneous tears, like I could feel her love and her presence, and I suddenly felt really like safe in my body, and I felt stability. And to compare it, this is how I've always felt in my body, so I didn't know any different, but I always felt like a kite blowing around in the wind. And then suddenly somebody grabbed the kite and anchored the kite, and now the kite is a pole or a tree with roots anchored into the ground. And now I'm not just flying around with the wind with no control, feeling unsafe. It was just like she was holding my hand and I was safe and stable and sturdy. It was so different from what I normally felt. So that was a really beautiful moment for me, and a whole new connection with the earth and my own body that I've never had before. So my friend and I stayed for a few days after and explored Mount Shasta, swam in the lakes and got fresh water and hiked around. And it was like I had this whole new connection to the earth that I never had. And I remember it was like easier for me to speak my truth as well, because I could feel so much safety and stability in my own body that it felt like I could say what I wanted to say without being shaken by the possibility of what the other person is going to think or how they're going to respond. Because not being in my body, I was so sensitive to everyone else's energy. Being in my body and having this connection with the root chakra, it felt like I had a little bit more of a barrier. And I also felt this new excitement to be alive on Earth. I just felt so much passion and excitement to see more of the world and its beauty. And that was kind of the first time I've ever felt like that, to really be excited about being here on Earth. I realized I had opened up this new connection to the earth and the beauty and what it has to offer, as well as the actual connection between my spirit and the spirit of Gaia, the Divine Mother. But once I left Mount Shasta, the root chakra, I did notice I had to work on being grounded. So while I was there, I didn't have to work on it. Once that channel was open, I was at the root chakra of Earth. The gravitational pull was strong. I could feel myself like on my 2 feet. But when I got home, I could feel it constantly trying to unplug and go back to my old way of being. For a few months, I had to consciously pull that energy back down. I remember there was one point where I was like doing it every day. I could not ground myself for 2 weeks, and then it finally happened. It wasn't just about like being outside, because when I finally grounded myself, it was while I was at the movie theaters, but I was like literally pulling the energy of my root chakra down into the earth, down through my legs and as deep as it could go, and it finally anchored in versus just pulling back up. It took conscious effort for me to stay grounded, but being grounded is life-changing. And it's over a year now, I've been able to see the transformative effects that this has had in my life. And I would not have gone if I didn't listen to my intuition, if I didn't listen to the messages and the meditations, if I didn't listen to the guidance of the universe. And if I wasn't aware of these things, I wouldn't have been able to receive the next step, the next breadcrumb. And even when I knew the next breadcrumb, I had to step into it. It was something I didn't want to do. I was afraid, it was uncomfortable. But I knew the universe said, hey, you need to do this. So I had to be brave and take the leap of faith and go to this ceremony that I didn't want to go to. And ultimately, this ceremony healed a block that I had in my body. And now I'm grounded, and I have the most beautiful connection to Mother Earth, and it has truly changed my life. I actually have more stories to share of how the universe guided me to releasing more subconscious blocks, so I will release more of those to just show you how the universe can give you guidance and send you signs and make synchronicities happen in your life, and show up through your intuition, through meditation, all sorts of ways. But we all have access to this energy, and this energy is always talking to us and guiding us with love to elevate you so that you can step into who you're supposed to be and let go of who you're not and what's stopping you from the life that you truly want to live. So take the leap of faith and trust this loving energy that I call the universe, so that it can unlock doors for you that you never thought were possible. I love you guys, and I will see you next time.